Thank you. Hey, welcome. Welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for being here today. This is the Wasatch Front Regional Council meeting. Today is Thursday, August 22nd, and we're starting this a few minutes late. Several of us are coming from some other meetings, so it's 1:40, but we're going to make up time because I do need to be done by 3:30, so we're going to go. We're going to get going. We appreciate all of you being here. My name is Dawn Ramsey. I have the privilege of chairing the council right now, and I serve as mayor of the city of South Jordan, and we'd love to do introductions if we can. So Rosie, how about we start with you? We'll go all the way around the table in the room, and then we'll ask Andrea to tell us who's online. Okay, thank you.
Rosie Hernandez, Wasatch Front Regional Council.
Jordan Chandler, WFRC.
Ted Knowlton, Deputy Director, WFRC.
Bob Dandoy, Royce City.
Christy Overson, Mayor in Taylorsville.
Carlton Christensen with the Utah Transit Authority.
Carlos Braceras, Utah DOT.
Tammy Chan, Kaysville City Mayor.
Beth Holbrook, Utah Transit Authority.
Andrea Pearson, WFRC.
Andrew Gruber, Executive Director here at WFRC.
Mark Shepard, Mayor Clearfield City.
Ari Bruning with Envision Utah.
Laura Hanson with the Governor's Office.
Michael Huerta with Salt Lake City, Utah, 2034.
Catherine Rainey Norman with Salt Lake City, Utah, 2034.
Colin Hilton, both Utah, Salt Lake City, 2034, and I run the Utah Olympic Legacy Foundation.
Rex Harris with the Federal Highway Administration.
Meg Townsend, WFRC staff.
Tim Watkins, WFRC.
Marsha White, WFRC.
Jory Johnner, WFRC Long Range Plan Group.
Ben Hewitt with UDOT.
Rachel Otto, Salt Lake City.
Bill Harris, WFRC.
Andrew Gemperline with Avenue Consultants. Jack Henneman, Avenue Consultants.
Andy Reed, WFRC.
Dwayne Huffman, West Bountiful City.
Brad McElrath, Clearfield City Planning.
Byron Head, WFRC staff.
Josh Reynolds, WFRC staff.
Matt Ryan, WFRC staff.
Ben Withrich, WFRC staff.
Ben Wood, City Weekly.
Chad Worthen, WFRC staff.
Wayne Benyon, WFRC staff.
Bert Granberg with the Analytics Group at WFRC.
Cameron Deal with the Utah League of Cities and Towns.
Susie Swim, WFRC staff.
Madison Aviles, WFRC staff.
Chris Day, WFRC.
Miranda Jones-Cox, WFRC.
Lauren Victor, WFRC.
Marion Florence, Finance at WFRC.
And the members and alternates that we have online: Representative Cal Musselman, Councilmember Scott Wardle, Councilmember Amy Winder Newton, Mayor Debbie Wynn, Mayor Brandon Stanger, Mayor Monica Zoltansky, Mayor Karen Lang, Commissioner Mike Newton, Mayor Mike Wickers, Mayor Dave Vaughn, Mayor Rob Dolly, Mayor Lauren Palmer, Mayor Ben Nadolski, and let's see, council member from Mill Creek City, Sylvia Catton, and let me see, oh, got a chat box in the way, there we go. Senator Wayne Harper and Commissioner Gage Froer.
Thank you. And I know we have Commissioner Stevenson and Mayor Walker both here. They'll be in just a minute. They'll be joining us soon. Okay, welcome. And thank you all for being here. Speaking up, yeah, perfect timing. Welcome, Commissioner Stevenson. All right, item 1 on our agenda, we have the consent agenda. It's an action item. It's just the minutes that have been sent out in draft form from our meeting held May 23rd, 2024, and the financial statements and check registers for April, May, and June of this year, and the budget and expenditure reports. Those have been sent out for review. Does anybody have any comments, changes, amendments, concerns? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion to approve those each of those documents, the minutes, the financial statement, and the check registers, and the budget expenditure reports.
So moved.
Thank you. Motion by Mayor Shepherd. Did you second?
Second.
Okay, and a second by Commissioner Stevenson. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, those are all approved. Thank you. All right, for the chair report this morning, you get one guess what we're talking about. One guess. Those of you who are not here in person, you're missing out, man, because I busted out my my favorite outfit. Yeah, and it's like 200 degrees outside, so this is real love for me. Okay. Anyway, we are really excited to have today's conversation and the guests that we have with us today. So we're going to be looking ahead. We all know we're looking ahead to the 2034 Olympics and talking about transportation in our communities. There's a lot of conversation about what we want our communities to look like. What do we need to do? What planning needs to take place? And it'll be a great conversation that we get to have today. The transportation system in place now, we'll talk about that and a little bit about what it meant, I think, for the Olympics before, for us to get things where they are, and then what's also planned and enhancements that need to be made before 2034. And we'll have a conversation many of us are having in other arenas with other groups. What do we want our communities and our region and our state to look like and to be like in 2034 and beyond? We want to welcome our three special guests who are here with us today from the Utah Olympic Committee and the Utah Olympic Legacy Foundation. Both, you're wearing both hats, right? Yeah. Okay, Catherine Rainey Norman, thank you, Chair of the Utah Olympic Committee. Colin Hilton, President and CEO of the Utah Olympic Legacy Foundation and also a member of the committee, right? And Michael Huerta, former US DOT official and a member of the Utah Olympic Committee. They've been in Paris. They've been working hard. They have a lot that they've experienced, and we're really looking forward to hearing from you and then also getting a kind of a summary of your vision for the games and what, you know, we say we have 10 years, we have 9.5 years, right? It's 9.5 years. So we're already, the clock is ticking. That 10-year window is already 6 months short. There's a lot of exciting stuff we can do. We also have Rachel Otto here with us today. She is Chief of Staff to Mayor Mendenhall in Salt Lake City. Rachel, thank you so much for being here. And Cameron Deal is here too, and he's doing a lot of conversations this way. There's a lot. Laura's having conversations. We're all having conversations about this in our respective organizations, and it'll be great to bring it together to this important organization with all the right stakeholders. So I'd like to turn it over to you three first, and then we'll talk, have you give us some input. But I'm going to turn it to Catherine and then let you three take it away. And we're really excited to hear from you. I might have to shed this outfit at some point while we're talking. I'm like, if you see me start to drip, you'd be like, she's melting. Yes. Anyway, but I love this outfit and I have all my Olympic swag and we are very excited to bring the games back. The Salt Lake City, Utah Games for 2034. We are here for it. So please take it away.
Well, thank you so much. I know that I think we have a little flavor for you all. We've got a video to share with you just to give you a little taste of what we were displaying in Paris. So we'll let you guys take a look at this first.
In Utah, there's a spirit that's been growing for the past 2 decades. You can see it in our kids who carve through childhood on skis and skates. You can feel it in the hearts of world-class athletes from over 30 countries that train here. You can hear it in the passionate cheers of fans who fill the very same hallowed venues that hosted the 2002 Games. Because the Olympic and Paralympic Games left us with more than just venues and memories. The Games reshaped our culture, creating a proud tradition of hosting international competitions and sparking programs that teach the value of sport and teamwork to thousands of kids every year. This legacy sets the stage for an even brighter future when the Games return. Because Salt Lake is now and will forever be an Olympic city. It's part of our everyday life, woven into the fabric of every Utahn. And we can't wait to open our home to the world once more and say, welcome back.
So, as you noted, all of us just recently came back from Paris, and this is, I think, my first public forum where I get to say we did it. Woo! I've done a lot of these different conversations in the lead up to this, and I've always been like, well, we're really well positioned. No, we did it, you guys. We're here, we did it, we got it, and really grateful and excited, and so glad that we could share that video with you because, you know, those are our kids, and those are our people, and those are our venues, and that was just such a standout for us to be able to showcase and share when we were in Paris. And you know, as I said, going into our work and into our presentation, people ask me, you know, what was our goal, right? Our goal was obviously to get the games awarded, but to make sure that we did it in a way that showcased the heart and the people of Utah. And I think we did that incredibly successfully when we were over there. As many of you know, this has been a 10 to 20-year journey, right? The flame went out in 02, and I think there were probably meetings within 3 weeks of how do we get this back, right? And our community has remained engaged and excited. And, you know, the morning when we did our presentation in Paris, we had the ultimate pajama party down in Salt Lake City. And honestly, we were all kind of, you know, obviously we're busy and getting the hustle, and we're about to do our presentation, and we're like, is anybody going to show up? You know, we have a live feed going back there, and man, Utah showed up.
Okay, can I just interject? I was there. Anybody else? Who was there? Mayor Shepherd. It was awesome. I wasn't wearing pajamas, but it was awesome.
Well, we're so grateful, obviously, to our partners with the city and Visit Salt Lake and the chamber. And, you know, it continues to be a demonstration over and over, and something that you all are working with, right? Is how we come together and how we collaborate, right? And when we have big opportunities or big challenges, that's what we do here. And so as we look at going forward over the next 9.5 years, and it is fast, and there is a new wardrobe refresh coming your way. Don't worry. But
I don't know. I love this one. Like, I'm just saying, I saved everything, but yeah, it's been
rebrand happening
saved for all these years.
We got a rebrand happening, but you know, this is our opportunity now, right? I was just at a meeting this morning, and we were talking about the fact that, you know, it's been 22 years plus since we've hosted the games, right? And this is the world's largest sporting event that we get to bring here. And this is such an opportunity for us to, again, focus on what we want. How do we envision our communities in 2034 and beyond, right? We don't want to plan just for what's going to happen for those 17 days and 10 days in February and March for the Olympics and Paralympics, but what do we want to look like beyond that? And how can we use this opportunity that we have that is so unique and so rare, right? 2 cities in the nation have this opportunity, or 2 states, California and Utah. A little ironic, but yeah. But we have a tremendous opportunity in front of us to really think about this. And I know Colin and Michael are going to share a little bit more about how we did this back in 02, and we did it really well. But I also encourage everybody to think a little bit differently, because we don't have to do it exactly the same again, right? And we need to think forward to what is our community going to look like going forward, and how we can use these games to catalyze. And that is, you know, been core to our mission from day one, is how can we elevate our communities through this great opportunity that we have. And this is the starting point, right? Meetings like this, bringing our communities together, bringing all the different stakeholders from around the table together and thinking this through. This isn't just about the Wasatch Front or the Wasatch Back. I know this is the Wasatch Regional Council, but thinking broader, right? How do we support our entire state through this effort? And a lot of that is obviously going to be around transportation. How do we change social behavior a little bit? These are things that when you traditionally think about a sporting event, you don't normally think about that, right? But this is so much grander and so much bigger and ripe for opportunity. And, I think I speak on behalf of all of my colleagues that we are just incredibly grateful and appreciative of the opportunities to, one, work with you, but also to listen and hear from you, right? This is a collective vision that we have to have going forward. And so we're really appreciative of this opportunity to be here. Thank you for getting up at 2:30 in the morning. Thank you for supporting the effort for so many years, and continuing to trust and believe in us as we continue to move forward is going to be really critical, because this is a partnership amongst all of us. And those are the things that keep me going every day, is how we are working together, how are we elevating our communities, and how can we use this to leave us off in a better place than we were before. So I'm going to turn it over to Michael and Colin, let them share a little bit about some of the initial work and some of the initial opportunities, a little bit of history, but also, always keep in mind, how can we reimagine what we're going to be doing.
Thanks, Kat. That was a great setup. And that video that you saw was actually the Welcome to Utah portion of our presentation. And it told such a great story to the IOC members and everyone that was in the room. It was just such a heartfelt presentation about who we are, what we represent, and how we're really looking forward to welcoming the world in 2034. I had the honor of working as part of the transportation team in the run-up to 2002. And what was going through my mind as we were sitting in the room in Paris was, going back 20 plus years, the Monday before our opening ceremony. What I distinctly remember, and I don't know if anybody else does, what I distinctly remember was the Salt Lake Tribune headline of that day. It was the day after the Super Bowl. Tom Brady had won his first Super Bowl. And the headline was something to the effect of, Super Bowl behind us, and uneasy Utah prepares to take the world stage. Think about it. We were 5 months after 9/11. This is the first time we had ever done anything of this magnitude. And it was, I think there was a lot of, what don't we know? But what was so amazing was 17 days later, when we came to the end and proclaimed, we did it. It went down really as one of the best experiences, certainly, that I've ever had as a professional. But I think that it was just a wonderful legacy for our state and for our communities, and really put Utah on the map as a very special place for winter sport, for hosting the world and all of that. And we get to do it all over again. And that's going to be great. Transportation was central to the 2002 games, and it really served as an opportunity for us to come together as a state to really focus our efforts around doing some really dramatic things. It was really the early days of the track light rail system here in the Salt Lake Valley. There were major projects that UDOT led on Interstate 15. We were able to accelerate a lot of projects that provided us better access into Park City, a new transit center in Park City. And it became kind of a focusing function for us. And I think that's how we need to think about 2034. What is the story we want to tell the world when the world comes to Utah in 2034? What do we want to be as a community, not only in 2034, but in 2035, 36, and the decades beyond that? And how do we now start to think about the decisions that we need to make in order for our state and our communities to tell that story to the world when they come together in 2034? Yet 9.5 years seems like a long time. It's going to go by real fast, particularly when we think about what do we want to manage with respect to how we move people throughout the state. And as we all know, those projects have long lead times, but it's an opportunity for us to, I think, really come together and make some pretty profound decisions that will affect what this state is going to look like for many, many years in the future. So it's a great opportunity. We're looking forward to the partnership with all of you as we do that. There's going to be a whole lot of granular discussion about venues and access, but it's important that we not think about how we manage traffic in 17 days, but really, how do we think about mobility across our state as a larger question, and then how that enables us to do a great job in hosting the world for those 17 days. That, I'll kick it over to Colin.
You know, one of my pleasures is running an organization that serves in 3 different distinctly Utah communities in Kearns, in Park City, and the Heber Valley. And so part of our impactful message in Paris was pointing to the fact that not only do we have 100% of existing facilities ready to go, they're all within 1 hour of a central athlete village. And many of these legacy venues are busier today than they were right after the O2 games. That's pretty unheard of around the globe. So we've got something really good to share to the world about how we do legacy, how we plan a future games, how we engage our communities. For me, this concept, one of our visions is elevating communities. And for me, I know we'll put on a great 3-week sporting event in 2034. What I'm more passionate about is what we can do to actually elevate communities as a part of hosting in a date certain in the future. Deadlines are good, especially for governments. And for me, it's a motivator. You have to make decisions. If we're going to host, we have to have a series of really smart decisions over a period of years in order to make some extraordinary things happen. And we need to think big. Many of the learnings we've had over decades of doing this is a lot of times, you know, people want to have a list of 50 things they accomplish. The hard part is then you spread yourself out. We would highly recommend each of the communities, we're having this message in different host venue communities, but I think this applies to even those who don't have a competition venue in their city or county, that think of 2 or 3 vision-y ideas of how the games can be a catalyst to get them moved ahead. That is more powerful of what we can do to have an impact than just putting on a sporting event. And those are the things I look forward to working with many of you as we go along.
Thank you. There are some projects already well planned. Let's get a little update here from Mr. Gruber. Let's talk about this.
Okay, thank you very much. I will share a little bit of information about transportation specifically, but first I want to note, going back to Kat's point about the pajama party, I was there with my 82-year-old father-in-law and my 26-year-old son, so 3 generations, and that just captures for me some of the import of what the games can mean. And it really did feel like a coming together of community and then beaming across the ocean. It was really wonderful. I look forward to more of that. I couldn't get my brother-in-law to go. My brother-in-law is one of the most decorated Paralympic cross-country skiers, Steve Cook, in Olympic history. And so let's not forget about the Paralympic Games, which will also be hosting, which comes shortly after that. Now, when it comes to transportation, we know Carlos, Carlton, Beth, UDOT, and UTA, we know that we are not looking to build things for the games, right? We don't build things for an event that is 17 days or 2 times 17 days. We're looking to do things in our community that are of benefit to our community that we're already planning to do that will help us serve the games even better. And I think this is very consistent with what you all have said. So I want to show you briefly on screen here. We've put together a map in coordination with UDOT and UTA that shows, this is on our Wasatch Choice page on our website, and it's specifically aimed at the games. And what you can see on this map, it shows, to your point, how close all of the venues, Olympic venues, are, concentrated together. And what you see on this map is the transportation system that we anticipate to be in place when the games come, the regional transportation system. But what I want to do is just reflect back for a moment. And I'm going to turn off all these layers which show the system and just note how much has happened, what was in place for 2002, and then how much progress has happened since then. So in the lead up to 2002, as Carlos has talked about often, the I-15 rebuild in Salt Lake County was a major challenge that was completed. The first tracks lines were put in downtown in Salt Lake County. And the games, I wasn't here, but I was here for the Paralympics, but not for the main Olympics. And the games went off incredibly well, right? With those monumental transportation achievements being part of it. But then take a look at what's happened since 2002. Major projects. You see other tracks lines being built, the front runner system being constructed, major highway improvements, really all over the region, significant work. And so what that suggests is just think about how much better a position we are even in now than we were relative to 2002. And then you might ask the question, well, what do we anticipate will happen between now and 2034? And so this layer on the map shows some of the projects that are, as I said already in the plans. Some of them are funded and some of them are partially funded and some of them aren't funded at all. But these are projects that we anticipate doing and needing in the next 10 years. You'll see probably the most important single project is the double tracking of Front Runner 2X, to move people from venues up in the Ogden area, Mayor, accessing Snow Basin, down into Salt Lake, and then down to the ice sheet in Provo. And while we're talking about Snow Basin, the interchanges off of I-84, critical projects. When you come down further down into the Davis and Salt Lake area, I-15 from Farmington to Salt Lake, enhancements to the track system downtown, Mountain View Corridor, the Mid-Valley Bus Rapid Transit, then the projects out in the Park City and Heber Valley area, critical projects as well. And again, these are not things to be done for the games, but they are things that are already contemplated, which will help us serve the world better. Carlos, you've noted that we don't have the funding in place right now for all of these projects. This is something that we need to confront as we go forward. I share this with you just to give you a sense of what has been accomplished since 2002, and also a sense of what we anticipate doing between now and 2034 that we're all going to work on together. And Mayor, that doesn't even touch what we've talked about already about the individual communities, the community development, and the opportunity that it presents. So we have probably already dropped a link to this in the chat. Thank you very much, Rosie. And with that, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming to be here. Yeah, wearing my very hot coat might be a little much, but I want to tell you why this whole conversation is so important to me. In 2002, I wasn't part of any of these conversations. I didn't even know any of this stuff. I was a young mom with little tiny kids, and I didn't live in a venue community, nothing like that. And I had the chance to be a volunteer and to be part of the magical time when the home that I loved, the place I'd lived in, grew up in, lived here my whole life, was transformed to host the world. And it was magical. And I loved every minute of it. I didn't have to deal with the headaches and the planning and whatever. I got to go be a volunteer and try to showcase the best of Utah, who we are, what we're about, and welcome people here. I had a great opportunity to work for the company that did the hosting of the USOC members. And so I hosted and drove around USOC members and showed them around and took them to their venues and took them to the dinners. And it was such a special thing. And I watched everybody who, I didn't know anybody even. I had never even met anyone who would have been part of these conversations, zero. But everyone I knew loved it. Everyone was excited about it. Everyone felt a part of it. And that's something we now have the chance to help recreate. We can help make sure that people don't go, this is a nightmare. I can't get anywhere while the world's here. We have a chance to make that not the case. We have the chance to make this special for the world and for all of Utah. And it's a privilege to get to be at these tables having these conversations. So as we think about what do we want our communities to look like? How are we going to best serve the world and move people around? And what do we want Utah and each of our cities and counties to be? It's a privilege to be at the table and to be having those conversations, because most of who we will be serving will be just like I was, not a part of any of it, and they may not even know anybody who was part of these conversations. It's really a huge opportunity that we have, and I appreciate the leadership that's here that is helping to guide and direct this. There will be a lot of opportunity for conversation. It was mentioned we're going to have a lot of granular conversations. We means all of us, about our cities, about transportation, about celebrations, about getting involved, about priorities, about hard decisions, about funding, what matters, what. We're going to have a lot of opportunity to have conversations about this. My hope is that we will all choose to engage, because it really is a privilege to be part of it. And none of us may be sitting in these seats in 10 years, 9.5 years. Who knows? We don't know. But right now matters. This time really matters. So I loved waiting in line for 4 hours at 6 a.m. at the Roots store here, just around the corner, and paying $19.99 for my hat. And then scalpers wanted $100. I just pulled up the Tribune article. It reviewed all that. I'm like, yeah, I'm remembering that right, because they were so hard to get. Well, the people waiting in line for 4 hours at the Roots store here were people like me who wanted to be part of this movement, and they hadn't been a part of any of these conversations, but they found something special in this. What a privilege it is for us to be part of this, and to have these conversations, and to have the leadership helping to move this along. So I would hope that you would continue to call on this organization. These are some of the brightest and best leaders from across the state, and we want to help. We want to get involved. We want to partner and participate and lend our support to the most successful games that we could possibly put on. So I'm going to open it up and see if anybody has any questions. We have just a few minutes for questions. Go ahead.
I was thinking a lot about a comment that Kat just made, and then when an event that the city hosted at the Eccles lobby, when I don't know what you technically call it, but the investigatory committee came as they were evaluating the host site. And one of the top guys there just said something to the effect of, you can do the logistics stuff in the last couple of years. These are the years that you should spend as a community thinking about sort of the value added kind of components to it, which are sometimes tougher because you can't get into the technical nuances. And I just was even thinking, like, how do I get more lower income families to utilize our PASS program to figure out mobility, figure out how do they get to Collins venues, how do they become part of that piece of that? And I think sometimes, we're always thinking the big project stuff, but I think especially in these earlier years, we have the luxury that we didn't have in '02 to think through some of those kinds of things. And I think from that perspective, a lot of non-venue cities can have a pretty profound impact in how we think and frame it. So I hope that we'll take advantage of those years.
Just real quick, I'm curious, how many more events will there be in 2034 in comparison to 2022 or 2002?
Same number of venues, except 40% more events. So our venues will be busier.
Hi, I just have a comment. I work in the governor's office. My job is long range planning for the state, and I really love the message that Carlton just doubled down on the value add. And what, we're so excited to have the world come and visit Utah, but they're going to leave and Utah's still our home. And how can we use this amazing opportunity to get some of the things in place that will set us up for the next generation of Utahns and to make this a really lovely place to live? And a couple of things that, we're very transportation focused in this body here, but the world is going to be watching and judging us on a variety of things. And we have air quality challenges. We have a Great Salt Lake that is at risk. And I think these are all things that we all need to continue to think about as well as we're planning towards this. So anyways, I would really love to connect with you all and talk more. So thank you.
Can I just quickly, as Laura was just speaking, I want to acknowledge Laura's new added role. Most of you probably know this already, but Laura has been tapped to be the governor's senior advisor on long-range planning. Have I said it right, Laura? In addition to her existing role as state planning coordinator. And it was, I'm going to say, a really great move by Governor Cox to tap Laura to be in that space. So congratulations, Laura. And she's so collaborative and we all know it and appreciate it.
I just wanted to add to the comment and say one of the fun things, having met with various mayors and county council chairs around the different communities of Utah, the patchwork of different visions in those community is terrific. And so that not every community wants to have the same vision-y ideas, but the idea of being able to help different cities with their different priorities is a real attractive element for me personally to see how the games can help, and it doesn't have to be the same thing from one city to the next.
Okay, final thought. That just made me think of, we have a subcommittee of the Unified Economic Opportunity Commission, I don't know what we're called. It's not a committee, it's working group about the Olympics and about, these conversations. And we've been tasked as communities, as cities and counties, we've been asked by the governor to make this a priority for each of our communities. How can we help our people feel like I felt when the Olympics come and like my neighbors felt who didn't have the flexibility in their schedule to be a volunteer for the Olympics, but they wanted to be a part of whatever they could. So they went to some cool event, not an Olympic event, but some event celebrating the Olympics. And so anyway, that's something, just so you know, we've all been tasked with that from the governor. He's asked very specifically for that to be a priority to us. So we'll have a lot of good conversations, and thank you again. We're here for it. We're excited. And the Olympic and Paralympic Games here, I love that they're the Salt Lake City, Utah 2032 games. Thank you. Okay. All right. All right, item 2B, we have our activities and accomplishments report. Each year as a council, we set goals for this organization. And after the year is over, our fantastic team here at WFRC produces a report for us on the agency's activities and accomplishments. And so we're going to turn the time over to Andrew to highlight some of those. We'll barely be able to scratch the surface because so much good work has been done, but appreciate it and turn the time over to Andrew. Thanks so much, you guys.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. This is one of my favorite things to do every year in our council meetings, which is to share information with all of you about the activities and accomplishments that our agency, WFRC, our staff, our council, and all of our communities working together have been able to accomplish. And I'm just so appreciative of our council members, colleagues, friends. I should note those are not mutually exclusive categories. Most of you fall into most of those categories, but it's really great to have you here for this. The reason that we do this, I'd say we're proud of the work that we've accomplished together, but it's also just as much about accountability. You as a council set goals for us as a team, and we feel as a public agency that it's really important for us to report back to you to have accountability and transparency about the work that we are focused on. Now, before I actually go into the accomplishments themselves, I want to just do a quick reminder of our mission statement and goals. It's on the wall over there, But the mission statement for WFRC is the Wasatch Front Regional Council builds consensus and enhances quality of life by developing and implementing visions and plans for a well-functioning multimodal transportation system, livable communities, a strong economy, and a healthy environment. And the roles that we play in the region are we serve as a convener, as a technical expert, as a planner, and as an implementer as we go forward. So just as a reminder. Now, we have 4 goals, and in the interest of time, I am not going to provide a lot of detail on all of these. Our team, everybody working together, but particularly Julie and Marion did an amazing job assembling this report. You all have it. We're going to be sending it out to you again so you can peruse it at your leisure. And so I also say to our team, I am not going to talk about everything that we all did, okay? It's all important. It's all in the report. I'm just going to hit a few highlights for each of the goals. Okay, goal number 1, collaboratively advance the Wasatch Choice vision as a framework for integrating transportation, land use, and economic development to best address growth-related opportunities and challenges. And we're so proud of our work to support you, to support local communities as you have worked to update your plans for growth and development in transportation, housing, land use, economic development in ways that are, making real what we have all assembled together into the Wasatch Choice vision. And I will note critically, there is no one-size-fits-all approach. Each of your communities are different sizes, different priorities. And we would never think that we were going to come and try to substitute our judgment for yours, for what you know and what your priorities are for your community. Our goal is to help you and to support you with a broader lens of thinking about your neighbors and thinking about the future as well. So we love to partner with you and support you in that way. Now, having said that, I'll just give you a few quick examples of this work that we've done. Part of our work in working with communities to implement the Wasatch Choice vision comes through the work of our Transportation and Land Use Connection Program, which is a partnership actually with UDOT, UTA, Salt Lake County. And in that program, just for example, we helped North Ogden City develop their North Ogden Southtown commercial area plan. And I love this. They refer to it as now what they're looking to build is the commercial and cultural hub of North Ogden. In addition to North Ogden, another example is the active transportation plan that was developed by Tooele City. Again, a very different community, but Tooele City, we were able to help them through our TLC program, develop a plan for walking and biking across their entire community. Now, you all are aware that over the past few years, we've embarked on a significant effort in doing station area planning, capitalizing on the fact that high capacity fixed guideway transit stations are great areas to absorb development and plan for more development, a mix of housing and jobs. Mayor Dandoy knows this. We've been helping you in Roy for years with your work for your front runner station. Well, we were thrilled to be able to help Ogden City, Mayor Nadolski, in your work in doing station area plans with your community for 5 of the stations along the BRT, the OGX line in Ogden City, because they're looking to coordinate, and Beth's nodding, she knows all about this, to coordinate the housing and the transportation and the land use and the job creation, because it's not just about putting in a transit system, but it's about coordinating the land use with that. And they've been doing a great job there. Another example of a station area plan, this is communities coming together. Midvale and West Jordan work together to develop their station area plan for 3 stations on the TRAX line. Carlton knows a lot about this one. Up to this point, we've certified, and this is a role that we have as a council, you have as a council, certified 24 station areas. And later in the meeting, we'll have the opportunity to certify, you'll have the opportunity to certify 3 more. I do just want to note that we were proud that our joint work with MAG, Mountain Land Association of Governments, in doing station area planning, received an achievement award, a national achievement award from the National Association of Regional Councils. And there you see a picture of Meg and Lanice accepting that award, and they should be proud for that work. Okay, we don't just do work with communities specifically. We also do a lot to provide high quality data and tools and analysis and technical resources. And so this can be used by you, elected officials, but also it's used by your engineers, your planners, and your teams. We give you maps and we give you all sorts of data in transportation, in housing, in economic development. Tons of information is available on our website. We share this out. I'll just give you one example, a highlight. Bill Harris on our team, where's Bill? There's Bill. Bill got an award this year at the Utah Transportation Conference for the Keep Utah Moving Through Better Mobility Award. And I just have to read this. Sometimes we do work that I don't fully understand. I think I basically get this one. Bill created an innovative web-based application for standardizing and coordinating the detailed manual review process for traffic volume forecasts for more than 8,000 roadway segments across all planning agencies in the state. So this makes it a lot easier for people that do detailed work in transportation planning and engineering to utilize data, more efficient and more effective. Also in our analytics group, Bert Granberg, who is the leader of that group, is the vice chair of the National Geospatial Advisory Committee in the Department of Interior. So we have folks doing all sorts of really cool stuff all the time that probably most of you don't even know about, but your teams do. The reason for this, good data, good analysis, good tools lead to better decisions, right? That's the whole point. Okay, goal number 2 is to effectively administer ongoing plans and programs. And in that spirit, in the past year, WFRC and all of its transportation partners, we finalized Utah's Unified Transportation Plan, which is a model for collaboration in the nation, and it's multimodal plan for all the modes of transportation, new capacity, maintenance and operation of our transportation system. We adopted that or finalized that in the past year. And if we do that, if we implement that unified transportation plan over the decades to come, it will have significant benefits to Utah. It will create more economic activity, increasing access to job opportunities. It will save people time in their traveling compared to us not implementing the plan. So significant benefits to moving forward with the unified transportation plan. Now, just because we develop a plan, that doesn't mean we're done. We're never done. We're growing so fast, right? We live in a dynamic environment. So planning is a continual process to update the Unified Transportation Plan and to update the Regional Transportation Plan, which if you're a member of the Regional Growth Committee, Mayor Dandoy has the opportunity to chair that. Thank you very much. We work on this as the steering committee. And I want to point out just one goal that we're talking a lot about in that setting, and it's relevant to our Olympics conversation, that we are working together to explore, goal number 2 there, explore aspirational opportunities for multimodal transportation choices, balanced with a pragmatic consideration of context and costs. Our work here is always about striking that balance. What is our vision for the future? What are the investments we want and need to make, balanced with the care that we have to have, the prudent approach to the use of public dollars. So balancing that aspiration and pragmatism is always something that's at play in our work. If you want to talk more about that, you will have the opportunity to do so at the workshops that we do around the region. You've already received your invitations to this set of workshops all over the region that are coming up in October and November. Yes, okay, Jordan says yes, that's correct. And again, the whole point of this, good process leads to better plans, better projects, better outcomes, and ultimately that's better quality of life. So just quick examples of projects that are in the plan and actually have been amended into the plan in the last year. The trail project on 39th South in Salt Lake County going all the way east-west across Mill Creek, Holiday, South Salt Lake, Taylorsville, and West Valley City, an east-west connection for trail. On transit, we helped with and are helping with the Tech Link study, the modernizing of tracks downtown, also running east and west to make it as effective as possible. We also have been working all along with UDOT on the I-15 Farmington to Salt Lake City environmental impact statement. So you see, again, multimodal approach where we consider transportation effectiveness and also community impacts in all the work that we do. That's the regional transportation plan. We also develop and adopt the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program, which is just over the next 5 to 6 years. And you'll have the opportunity to take final action on that 25 to 30 TIP later in this meeting. As part of the TIP, we provide funding to your communities. And this year, we were able to provide almost $55 million of federal dollars to 42 projects across all of your communities. Now, I want to note, particularly in the TIP, here's some examples. Farmington Main Street that we were able to provide funding for. We were able to provide funding for pedestrian bridge in Salt Lake City that goes over the railroad tracks for more safety. And the list is long of these types of projects. We also work with Tooele County and Tooele Valley, helping them in their rural planning organization. We do the same thing for Morgan County. So we're working with folks all over the region. And when it comes to folks all over the region, I'll note in collaboration with the League of Cities and Towns, this year we stood up the local administrative advisor program. Where's Madison? Madison is right there, specifically a focus on the smallest communities in our region that don't have a lot of staff. Okay, moving along, goal number 3 of 4, provide subject matter expertise to federal, state, and local officials and policymakers. At the federal level, we work with our national associations, our congressional delegation, federal agencies, with all of you, with our partners on transportation legislation and policy, annual appropriations, competing for discretionary grants for us and for you, and then community project funding, AKA earmarks, to help bring resources into Utah. I want to note on our national work, particularly Commissioner Stevenson serves on the board of the National Association of Regional Councils with us, for us, and is also the co-chair of their transportation committee. It's going to be an important year as we look ahead next year for policy. So thank you, Commissioner Stevenson. And I think you know that we are going to be hosting the National Conference for AMPO, the Association for Metropolitan Planning Organizations, in just a few weeks. Now, I'd like to think that they selected our community because they're so enamored with the terrific work that we all do together. I suspect it has something to do with the fact that Utah is a great place to visit, but maybe it's both of those things. And we've sent information to all of you about that. Closer to home, just up the hill, we work very closely with you again, with our state legislators on policy and funding here in Utah. That includes working with former WFRC members, Senate President Stuart Adams and House Speaker Mike Schultz, on issues related to funding for transportation. And last year, in the past year, was another big year for multimodal transportation funding for state roads. The first time there's ongoing money going from the state into transit, and that follows for the first time ongoing money going into trails. And Carlos, I want to thank you for your work in those areas and the multimodal approach that you have taken in those areas as well. On the relationship between housing and transportation, we have worked a lot on legislation that provides tools to your communities, not mandates, tools to your communities to do development in a way that is effective. Housing and transit reinvestment zones. We have supported Senator Harper for years in developing that tool, and it's very effective. It's really being used around the region. And then we worked with Senator Harper and Representative Musselman. They are the 2 members from the House and the Senate who serve on WFRC, and they were both online, to develop a new tool, the First Home Investment Zones, or the FIZ. And that will start taking effect or being used as time goes on. And again, I just want to recognize all of the partners we work with, the League and the counties and UDOT and UTA and the governor's office, et cetera, and Envision Utah in all of this work. I'm skipping over so much, but I want to note one particularly important thing, which is in the past year, we developed a comprehensive safety action plan. Transportation, the first goal, it starts with safety. And this is true for all users. The roadway should be safe, whether you're driving or walking or biking. And we got a federal grant and we adopted a comprehensive safety action plan. And now we want to keep working with you to implement that plan. That plan actually identifies projects in every community in the region that you can do. And there's funds that will be available to help you do that. So let's keep working on that together. Now I will roll into goal number 4, the final goal, which is to strive for organizational excellence. And I just want to note to you, it is very important to me and to our whole team as a public agency that we maintain budget stability, that we have transparency and accountability, and that we use our resources prudently and efficiently. I think that's our obligation. I know you feel all of that way as well in your own communities. We take those responsibilities very seriously. We believe that we're doing this. It's our obligation to you as a council, as our governing body, and also to the public. That success is reflected in our more than 25-year streak of unqualified audit opinions. Marion and team, nice work. And then I will conclude by noting a goal that I appreciate you setting for us and that I hold near and dear, which is to create and maintain a work environment that maximizes the health, happiness, and productivity of a truly excellent staff. I got a picture. We have a team picture, which is here, so you can look at if you're online, but most of our staff is here in the room. And I just want to note that they are, and you know this, our team is dedicated, they're talented, and maybe most importantly, they care about the future of our communities. And I'm really so proud to work with them. And it's honestly, it's such an honor for us, for me, and for all of them to work to support you, all of you, in your community. So members, can you just join me please in giving a round of applause to our team? You guys, thank you so much. And now what I want to do is, my final point is that I actually want to turn the tables and thank you all on the council. It's an honor for us to support you, but we know that you have the hard jobs. You are the ones that have to ask your communities to let you serve your communities. And we also know that your jobs are not regular business hours. You're on 24/7. And you know, the role that we get to play, as I've described, in supporting you and helping you in doing this amazing service that you provide to your communities, again, it is just a true honor to be able to work with you. So Team WFRC, let's give a standing ovation to our members, please. I know I've taken probably more time than I should have, Madam Chair, and there's so much more in the report. We would love for you all to look at it, but that concludes the activities and accomplishments report for FY24. Thank you very much.
Another incredible year. Thank you so much. I know it's impossible to even scratch the surface of how much good work has been done. But the good news is each of us have things that come to our own minds really quickly that he didn't mention that we know were accomplished. So thank you. Thank you to all of you. Andrew, thank you. Team, thank you for all of your good work. All right, next we have our public comment period. If there's anyone here from the public that would like to address the council, we'll invite you to come up to this microphone and give us your name and information for the record. You're entitled to have 2 minutes to speak to us. Is there anybody here that'd like to speak to the council? I am not seeing any. No one online? Okay. All right, thank you. We will close the public comment period and move on to item 4, which is our Regional Growth Committee report. We're going to turn to Mayor Dandoy for that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Regional Growth Committee is making a recommendation today to certify 3 stationary plans from Clearfield, Murray, Mill Creek, Woods Cross, and West Bountiful. So it's a great day. We're excited about this. Certainly great accomplishments. Stationary planning is a local effort to plan and zone around transit stations, as was explained earlier, which are key areas of effective accommodated growth. Many of our Wasatch Front, Wasatch Choice Vision Centers are focused around these transit stations. Now, under House Bill 462 from 2022, cities and transit stations are required to develop stationary plans. Cities decided how to do it, and they maintain their local control over land use, which I like. Wasatch Front Regional Council is given the responsibility, therefore, to certify the stationary plans and satisfy the statutory requirements. So today, Meg Townsend's going to go ahead and introduce the items for today's consideration, hopefully approval, and lead us through the conversation. Megan?
Thank you, Mayor Dandoy. As that's getting pulled up, I will start with a reminder of what stationary planning is, what cities are obligated to do, and how it's going. As always, I want to make sure that we give you a report on how this is going, and it's going really well. And then I want to call everyone's attention to really specifically what we're going to consider today. Because the legislation was created understanding that a place doesn't end at your city boundary, some of these station areas span multiple cities. And so we're kind of considering it city by city. Some of those are coming together. Some of them aren't in the place to come together. So today we are going to consider Clearfield's front runner station area plan, the station area plan for Murray North, which is shared by Murray and Mill Creek. They work together on that. And then a resolution for the West Bountiful portion of the Woods Cross station. So Woods Cross is currently working on a plan. They have a little bit more opportunity on their portion of that station area plan than West Bountiful has. So I'll talk about that. A reminder, station area planning began with 2022 House Bill 462. It came out of a conversation about housing. We all know, all of your communities know just about how important the housing issue is to tackle. The goals of this include increasing availability and affordability of housing, promoting sustainable environmental conditions, enhancing access to opportunities, and increasing transportation choices and connections. All of these plans are working to achieve those objectives as well as your city objectives for these neighborhoods. They're required a half mile around rail stations and a quarter mile around BRT stations that have fixed guideway at that station. They are all required to have a vision. They've got to have a map. They need to have a 5-year implementation plan, and that's really one of the most important pieces. Is that's what these cities are saying. Your cities are saying, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to make this happen. They need to have a statement of how those 4 objectives are met, and they need to involve the public and key stakeholders, engaging UTA, UDOT, property owners, and of course the general public. We have money to help you do this, so we've been programming the $5 million and shared with the Mountain Land Association of Governments in partnership with UTA and GOEO. Over half of that money has been programmed out and put to use. Keep in mind, half of that money has been programmed out and put to use. So if you still have stationary planning to tackle in your community, reach out. Here's how it's going. So there's 127 station areas. Even though there's 95 stations, a lot of them cross 2 or 3 city boundaries. So there's more station areas than stations. We've certified 24 of those, as Andrew said. While there are 3 plans on the table today, that will count as 4 because we've got 2 cities in one of those plans, right? So you follow my math here. I do want to call attention to that 52. So there's a wall, an army of station area plans being produced right now coming at you. So this will probably not be the last meeting where you're being asked to certify multiple station area plans at once. We funded 25 applications with that station area plan money with GOEO, MAG, and UTA. Here's what we're looking at today. Clearfield has almost their entire station. That bottom right corner has that teeny little sliver. The Murray North Station, you can see, is sitting over that Murray Mill Creek line. And then that's the West Bountiful portion we're considering today. And you can see Woods Cross is in progress with their piece. Clearfield station area plan is actually an update to an existing station area plan. Clearfield was one of those overachieving cities that were thinking about station area planning before they had to, but we were able to utilize some funding, utilize the state requirements, expand the scope of that plan, the reach. They added the city of Clearfield has planned to add some medium, low density residential mixed use up in that northern piece. They added that sliver to the south, which includes mixed uses, and then some commercial and residential considerations east of State Street that are all beyond that original station area plan. And there's also some additional active transportation connections in this plan. Mayor Shepherd, so you're at the table. Would you like to make a comment?
Real quick, Carlos has a question.
Sorry.
Mr. Braceras has a question.
Please.
Thank you, Meg. Would you go back one slide, and maybe that slide will help answer the question I had as I review the material, and this will probably demonstrate my lack of depth on this. When the checklist, the Wasatch Front checklist, the West Bountiful one is unique in that you've checked it off as impracticable. Is it because that it's just touching a portion of the area here? Is this the right slide to address that? Because you're still
correct.
recommending yes.
So you're correct. I am going to go deeper into that.
Okay.
I'll talk about that. You're correct in that we are asking you to certify West Bountiful's portion of the Woods Cross Station as impracticable, and it's not because of where it sits. It's pretty much entirely Holly Refinery, and really not conducive to the kinds of development that are transit-oriented uses. So I will talk a little bit more about that. The city of West Bountiful went very deep in an analysis to determine this, and I want you all to see just how thorough they were. But yes, it is different. Thank you. Is that okay if we continue through Clearfield? Okay, and then we'll go back over. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Meg. Like I said, most of this was an earlier plan, and this was really just expanding that plan to make sure that we included the entire half acre that we needed around that, or half mile, excuse me. Half acre would be really easy. We planned that originally. It was already done. That half mile radius. And so this took in a lot. It appreciate staff and really WFRC and help in working with us to make this happen and come back together. You'll notice a huge portion of that circle. The east side of the tracks from the station east is very easily developed. In fact, if you drive up to Clearfield, the horizontal infrastructures are all completely in at Clearfield Station. The trees are growing, the sidewalks are in. It's shovel ready, and we'll start seeing development go up later this fall. The west side is all Freeport Center, and so we've got an amazing amount of commercial already built into our station area plan. It's doing real well. So, but thank you. Our staff has done some amazing work with you guys, and we appreciate that. Brad's here because I made him put on a suit, and so I have to point him out. So, but thank you.
We'll get Brad's dry cleaner bill later. Sorry, Brad. And I know that this has been a critical partnership with UTA as well for years and years and years. This is one of your first transit-oriented developments at UTA.
I have to just, when you said that, I'm like, okay, I remember very distinctly, Mayor. I think I was like a month into this role, and you came up to me and you were like, we're going to get this fixed. And I was like, all right, I love a challenge, so bring it on. And Clearfield City really did an outstanding job of envisioning and articulating and putting everything together and putting skin in the game. And so kudos. You guys did a great job.
There are, I should note, in that station area plan, anywhere from 800 to 1,000 housing units just in that station area. So it's a very dense project.
Okay, we're doing this in a batch today. So there will be a suggested motion at the end that will cover all three of these, but I'm going to keep cruising and tell you about the other two plans. So the Murray North Plan, Murray and Mill Creek were wise and came together to work on this, knowing that a place doesn't end at your city border. This is an area that's already got a lot of housing and much more on the way. So while the plan does include lots of residential, it's also looking at, how do we ensure this is a good place to live? Looking at green corridors for active transportation, as well as open space in this neighborhood, using crime prevention through environmental design principles to make sure it's safe, nice, walkable area that's comfortable to be in for transit users and pedestrians. And also looking at things like the redevelopment of an existing foam factory, new community uses, a grocery store. This is currently a food desert. So this is one of those really urban areas that the plan is seeking to enrich with additional housing as well as other amenities. I know that Mayor Silvestrini couldn't make it today. Councilmember Catton is online. If you'd like to make a comment, go ahead.
She was online,
Okay.
and she says thank you, and she is no longer online.
Thank you. And Murray City, Mayor Harrell also hoped to make it today, but is not able to. Are there any questions I can help answer on the Murray North Station Area Plan? Okay, we can always come back. West Bountiful Station Area. So West Bountiful City knew that they had some major existing constraints to doing anything that really resembles transit-oriented development. But the city reached out to our organization seeking technical assistance to make sure that they, dotted their i's, crossed their t's, and really turned over every rock to make sure that there were no opportunities. So I think with about 35,000, we hired a consultant working with Best Manifold. Dwayne's over here. The consultant looked at the feasibility of transit-oriented development, feasibility of additional connections and things like that. And thoroughly went through those objectives. And we did find as a team that it was not feasible to do a station area plan for this area. The city has worked to increase connectivity, et cetera, to the station, but this entire station area really is Holly Refinery. And the refinery plans to stay, is buying up land around them. And so they are seeking your certification for impracticability as allowed by House Bill 462, because the station is not fit for transit-oriented development.
Meg, let me just quickly add, some of you will remember very well the very intensive negotiations that we did around HB 462 a few years ago. And the fact that we are able to certify West Bountiful as having it be impracticable to do this type of station area planning and development reflects that compromise and flexibility, that rather than the legislature mandating that certain things happen, they asked for a serious consideration to be given. And then also we negotiated that there would be flexibility to deal with the conditions that are felt in each community. And so this is actually a demonstration of the flexibility built into that legislation in a very positive way.
Okay, any questions that myself or Dwayne can answer on the West Bountiful station area? Okay. All right. As with every station area plan we'll ever bring before you, our staff has reviewed these according to the requirements of House Bill 462. We also worked with all of these communities, which makes that process a little bit easier. We know that by the time they come to you, they should satisfy those goals. We made a positive recommendation to the Regional Growth Committee to certify these plans, and they did vote to recommend that council certify these plans. You have everything in your packets you need to see the plans themselves, the certification checklist, and a draft resolution that would be signed today if these plans are certified. So I'll turn it back to Mayor Dandoy.
Megan, thank you, and always an excellent presentation. Madam Chair, we, as was indicated, the Regional Growth Council has forwarded this as a recommendation to the council for consideration for approval. So I would like then, if you can call upon someone to make a motion, okay, to approve the certification. And you know who's best to do that?
I have an idea.
It's me or Mark.
Yeah. Mayor Shepherd, would you like to make a motion? It's there, it's
Yes, I would move
distinctly
that we
written for you to
that
make
I
it
would move
easier.
to certify the Clearfield Connected Station Area Plan, the Murray North Station Area Plan, including Mill Creek and Murray, and the West Bountiful Woods Cross Station Area Resolution.
Perfect.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Excuse me, I'll second that.
Thank you, mayors, both of you. Appreciate it. Any discussion to this motion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Congratulations, and thank you for all that good work. That is approved. We will certify those. That's great. All right, item 5, we have our Transportation Coordinating Committee. We're going to turn to Mayor Shepherd.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 4 items on our report today. Item 5 is a review of the materials provided in your packets. And then items 5B, C, and D are action items. So I'm going to turn the time over to Ben to kick us off.
Thank you, Mayor. So today is a big day for the Transportation Improvement Program, or the TIP as we commonly know it. As Mayor Shepherd indicated, we've got a board modification to review with you that Transcom took action back in June. An action on the board modification before this body here, and in action to approve the 2025 Transportation Improvement Program. We'll get to that in just a minute. That's the exciting part here. So in your meeting materials, you've got 4 tables along with the signed resolution of projects that were brought to the Regional Council, requested to be amended into the 2024-2029 Transportation Improvement Program. This is an item for information, and if there's no questions, we'll move forward. if that's all right. Wonderful. So then here we have a board modification before you. Now, this month is a little unique. There is, in your meeting materials, there are 4 tables that identify several projects to be modified into the Transportation Improvement Program. However, this information, being the month of August, we meet with Transcom earlier this month. Transcom reviewed all of these projects and brings a recommendation to this body. There's 4 pages, and if there's no questions on any of this or on any of these projects, then Mayor, we'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, as he said at our meeting last week, we Transcom reviewed each of these and recommended approval to the council. So I would move the Transcom and the WFRC staff, that we adopt the resolution to modify the 2024-2029 Transportation Improvement Program as requested.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the resolution to modify this 24 through 29 Transportation Improvement Program as requested, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right.
All right, well,
Passes.
if you
Thank
remember a good 5 years ago, Ben got up here and got really, really excited about doing the 2020, 2025, or excuse me, 2020, 2025. Yes, I was right. Transportation Improvement Program. And today he's one-upping it 5 years later to do the 2025, 2030. So it's hard to believe it's been 5 years, but Ben, we'll turn it back over to you to cover the next 5 years.
Thank you, Mayor.
Like a celebration.
So this is a big meeting for a celebration. In fact, if I can maybe pause for just a second to celebrate there. This is a big day. So what we do before you today is we're bringing the Transportation Improvement Program 2025-2030 for your review and approval.
Truth be told, Ben's presentations are the reason I have stuck around this place for so long, because you just never know what you're going to get, and I love it. Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Thank you. So the TIP, as you're all aware, it's a 6-year program of projects. The first 4 years are funded. The out 2 years, we refer to them as concept development years. It's for both of our urban areas. It's the Salt Lake urban area, which goes from Utah County up to Davis County, and then it's the Ogden-Layton urban area that goes from Salt Lake County all the way up through Brigham City. So 2 large geographical areas along the Wasatch Front. The TIP identifies the projects that are funded with federal, state, and local programs, and it's for all the cities, the counties, UDOT, and the Utah Transit Authority. So what does the TIP do? It implements the long-range plan. It prepares, when the projects that have been identified in the RTP, earlier the conversation of long planning or long-term planning for the Olympics, when those projects move down to an unfunded year, those projects will show up in the Transportation Improvement Program. The highway, the transit, the active transportation projects, but also all those projects in the TIP, they help us meet the short-range needs, and they also provide the maintenance for our existing system. There's a list of projects in there that are new construction, rehab, maintenance, and maybe better than a lot of words as we'll look quick at the different projects. As we go through new construction, widening of projects, you'll identify or recognize several of these. We'll see a couple of these slides here in a minute. But a significant amount of work that's done through the Department of Transportation with UTA and the local governments. We just have a lot going on along the Wasatch Front. Not only of the new construction, then we've got the rehab and maintenance projects. We also got operations and safety type projects. We have the transit capital improvements and operation and maintenance projects. And then we have the pedestrian and bicycle projects or the active transportation type projects. So all of these projects here, they identify or they represent hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in the transportation improvement program before you. There is $10 billion along the Wasatch Front in projects. There's thousands of jobs. There's the economic growth and the development. There's the mobility and access. There's preservation of life, and it also promotes the quality of life that we're all about. So the transportation improvement program must be financially constrained. It needs to conform to air quality. It needs to be reviewed by the public and approved by the regional council. So in preparation of all this, we prepared the tables of all the projects, and we took this information as we add our projects or the programs Wasatch Front takes the lead in programming. We've got those projects that UDOT takes the lead in programming. And we add those projects that UTA takes the lead in programming. And then we do a conformity analysis to make sure that we can build all of these within the guidelines of the law. Back on the 20th of June, Transcom gave us the direction to go out for public review and comment. That began on the 29th of June and concluded on August 3rd. During that time, we had 2 open houses. We had one on the 9th at the Salt Lake Intermodal Center, and we had one on the 16th in the Ogden-Layton Modal Center. It was identified, and not to go into a lot of detail on this, but on the 5th, the Monday after our public comment period it concluded, it was made known to us that our interactive map, our resource for collecting comments, had closed down on us. And under further investigation, it was identified that because of the app we were using, the time zones on that, and so it closed us down prematurely. It closed us down on the night of the 2nd rather than the night of the 3rd. So as soon as we found that out on Monday, we immediately opened up the map again and left it open for 2 or 3 more days, 2.5 days there to Wednesday the 7th, allowing any others that may have tried and didn't have the opportunity. During this time, we also had our general comment form, which was always open. We also had all of our emails, which was always available, as well as any phones. So we had that information, we prepared that, we took that information to our technical advisory committees, which is made up of the city's engineers and public works personnel. They recommended—
Ben, just one thing.
Yes.
So just city, county, UDOT, UTA, all of them participate on the tax, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. They recommended that we take the information, make it available for Transcom's review and recommendation to the regional council for our meeting here on the 22nd. So during our public involvement period, we encouraged people, whether we were in the open house, whether we talked on the phone or through our media, through emails, we tried to turn them to our webpage to where they could have an opportunity and interact with our interactive map. They could go right on, they could see a project, they could click on a link, they could get some details, they could leave a comment to get the information out to as many people as possible. In your meeting materials, you have a summary of that information, as well as a list of all of the comments that were received. Now, since this was sent out to you, we have received a couple of email comments that will include also with final product so that you're aware. But so that you know, there were 250 project-specific comments received through the interactive map, approximately 100 comments received via the general form, and then there was about 20-ish comments that were written down and verbally given there at the open houses, and then there were a few via other means by the email and phone. So public comment is very important for us. It's important for the Department of Transportation. It's important to Utah Transit Authority. And I know it's important for your local government projects. This is where we can really get the information necessary to accomplish the best product. Fortunately, today we have an individual, Rex Harris here, who's actually representing— oh, I better do this slide first so I can— so our public comment, what do we get? Well, we collect it and we document it. And then we take it to our project meetings, and then those comments that are appropriate for the project, they're implemented and they're used. And just to demonstrate that, maybe Now I'll introduce, so Rex Harris, he used to work for the Department of Transportation, was actually a project manager on a significant project, but now he works for Federal Highways. He had a little inside information on a couple of projects, and I just, if it's all right, Madam Chair, if we give him just a half a minute there to talk what a public comment made a difference.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. And Madam Chair, I have to have a disclaimer. I'm not the spokesman for UDOT. I've happily retired from them after 30 years working with them, and I love UDOT, and I hope that my partners at UDOT allow me to share a little bit about this. But public involvement is very important, and two big projects up in northern Utah, the Highway 89 and the West Davis corridor project, both because of their types of delivery methods, allowed us to take the opportunity to utilize some public comment. On 89, the public basically told us, we want to keep that roadway profile as low as possible. And because of the nature of the progressive design build delivery method, the contractor was able to take that information, design, bring the roadway down. But generally, what that usually means is now they got a lot of material that they have on their hands that they don't know what to do with or have a problem getting rid of. Fortunately for us on the West Davis project, we were able to go ahead and purchase that material and then make that available free of charge to those who are bidding on the West Davis project who can't pass up good granular free material, right? And it came at a perfect
Rex, AKA dirt, right?
dirt.
Okay, just making sure.
Good dirt. We were able to be a win-win for both projects because it came at a time as well that the 89 project was short on funds. So we were able to purchase that project. So we were help them. We needed the material. West Davis was built on the Lake Bonneville spongy material out there, and we needed to build it up, a lot of material, and we were able to utilize over 80,000 yards coming off of the 89 project and bring down to our project, all in part because we were able to go through the public involvement process, use that information that it gave us, and work with the contractors and be able to give us a good product.
Thank you, Rex. And Madam Chair, in conclusion, I just want to emphasize the benefit and the blessing to us all to work with such great people. The people from UDOT, the folks from UTA, and your local staff. They're amazing people, and we're grateful for all they do. And that would be our report, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Ben. Any questions or concerns for Ben? Okay, well, Transcom and staff have reviewed this and recommended approval, so I would move that we adopt the resolution approving 2025-2030 with all the fanfare, transportation improvement program, and the corresponding air quality conformance finding.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Is there a second to that motion? Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion to this? I mean, even if you want to say, the party blower was awesome, whatever. Yeah, it's good. Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for that example of using public comment. That's one that we can all remember and use if we ever hear from folks that, our comments don't matter, nobody cares. It does matter. It doesn't. Thank you for that example. It's very helpful. Thanks.
The last of those, Madam Chair, when the tip is submitted to the Federal Highway Administration Program and the Federal Transit Administration, WFRC is required to certify along with UDOT that the regional planning process complies with federal regulations. And so at our Transcom meeting last week, staff reviewed with us the content of this certification, and Transcom has recommended approval. I don't know if everyone's got it in their packet, so if there's any discussion, that's wonderful. If not, I would move that we adopt the resolution certifying the transportation planning process.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor of approving this resolution certifying the transportation planning process, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
That concludes our report.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks to everyone for all your work on this. All right, item 6, we have funding opportunities. We love funding opportunities and we love getting updates about it. One of our primary activities here in this organization, obviously, is providing resources for local communities to help each of us, including funding for transportation projects and technical assistance planning. And most of us take advantage of that, and if we don't, we should. It's available. Wasatch Front Regional Council has 9 programs that provide funding and technical assistance to our communities, averaging about $50 million a year. And so we're going to turn to our staff to give us a brief overview of this. Wayne Benyon and Meg Townsend, I think, are going to tag team this. Is that right? All right, Wayne, thanks.
Correct. Thank you. Appreciate it. So as the application cycle is approaching for several of these programs, we just want to take the opportunity to remind you what funding opportunities are available and encourage you to apply. There are 3 types of funding the WFRC administers or helps with. First are capital improvement programs, second are planning assistance, and lastly, other federal grants. And I'll talk briefly about the capital improvement programs, and then Meg will cover the others. And she'll also point out a timeline and contact information for the program, each of the 4 program leads. So the Surface Transportation Program funds roadway improvements, transit improvements, pedestrian and bicycle facilities. The Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Program and the Carbon Reduction Program are both focused on projects that reduce vehicle emissions. And then the Transportation Alternatives Program is focused exclusively on pedestrian and bicycle improvements. And you already saw a few examples of capital improvement programs or projects rather, in the activities and accomplishments report. And Ben Withrich over here, who you just heard from, is the program lead for these capital improvement programs. And so I'll turn it over to Meg for the other programs.
Thank you. So I'll talk through some planning technical assistance programs and some other federal opportunities. We have our Transportation and Land Use Connection Program you heard about today. Planning technical assistance available annually. This is a partnership with UDOT, UTA, and Salt Lake County. We have about $2 million in funding per year to program. We can fund anything from high-level visioning to ordinance work and implementation focused projects. This might be a small area plan for your center, an active transportation plan, and all things in between. We can get creative here. We're implementing the Wasatch Choice Vision through this program and meeting your community's goals. The station area planning is also planning technical assistance. It's different because it's specific to House Bill 462 implementation, getting that done for your cities, and it is available on a rolling basis. As I said, over half of that $5 million has been spent. Most cities with an obligation to do something with station area planning are doing something, but there's more work to be done, so there's more funding to help you do that. And there are a few cities with teeny tiny slivers. So come talk to us if you're one of those. We're also planning to reach out and make sure you know you've got that teeny tiny sliver. And this would be a good resource to make sure that you have all your planning in place to meet the state requirements under House Bill 462. Beyond that, we run our Community Development Block Grant Program for small cities. This program applies only within Morgan, Tooele, and most of Weber County outside of Ogden, who's an entitlement community. And that's because the other communities in our region are entitlement communities. CDBG can fund low to moderate income communities with capital infrastructure projects, mainly think public amenities, utilities, emergency, things like that. So if you're in those areas, Morgan, Tooele, most of Weber County, come talk to us about CDBG. And then we also have our Community Impact Board funds, a small program, a grant and loan program that can fund planning and infrastructure in Morgan and Tooele counties. So those have a limited area and a different cycle. If you do plan to apply for the CDBG money, there's a mandatory how to apply workshop in October. That'll be in the program's packet, but you do have to go to that workshop to be able to qualify to apply for CDBG funds. We also have our Wasatch Front Economic Development District. Our WFEDD functions kind of like a committee here at WFRC. We program, or we do a long-range planning for economic development throughout the region, partnering with other economic development agencies. But we can also help connect you to federal EDA funding. So if you have projects, think creation of jobs, we can help connect you to EDA funds, also on kind of a rolling basis. So reach out if you have ideas for EDA funding. Our EDD, Economic Development District, can help you with that. Okay, so for the programs that Wayne talked about, the STP, CMAC, CRP, and TAP, as well as the Transportation and Land Use Connection Program for Planning Technical Assistance, there are some deadlines approaching. So we are soon to release a programs packet that's going to have a bunch of information beyond what we've talked about today, eligibility requirements, et cetera, for all of these programs. And that will be a call for letters of intent. Letters of intent, it uses the same form for all 5 of these programs. That's due at the end of September. So that's a pretty easy bar to clear. It requires the mayor's signature, project idea, funding amounts. When you submit that letter of intent, we're going to review it for eligibility for these programs, and we're going to resort those so that they go to the right program. So if you're not sure which program to apply to, don't worry, fill out the form, send it in to us, and we'll get you to the right program. That's when we'll make an invitation to apply. So it'll be a concept report for capital projects or an application for technical assistance for planning. Those applications are going to be due early December. And then the review process is kind of deviate from there. So TLC makes awards in the spring. The capital infrastructure programs will review through the spring and start to make recommendations to our committees. That's what that program packet will look like. It will be in your inboxes next week. And then here are the program contacts for all of these different programs. We can leave that on the screen for a moment. For now, contact me instead of Christy. She's on leave. But contact any of us if you're interested in these funds. You don't need to know who administers what. Just reach out.
And not to worry, elected officials, we also send this to your staffs and we work with them.
Absolutely. Any questions we can answer about these? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thanks so much for that. I took screenshots in another meeting of those, but I also just took like little photos. I'm also going to send it to our staff and just a little, camera note. Hey, reminder, here's the deadlines. Yeah, thank you. All right, item 6B, we have the Wasatch Front Economic Development District. That is a little bit of a mouthful. WFEDD update. Commissioner Gage Froers joining us online. We'll turn to you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I just wanted to give a brief overview of our activities with the Wasatch Front Economic Development District. Want to make sure that give a shout out to Marsha White that does a great job in making sure all the committee members are well informed and keeping us on track. Just as a reminder, I'm sure everybody in your room knows that the Wasatch Choice Vision really includes 4 key strategies. First, transportation choices, housing options, number 2, parks and public spaces become very important. And lastly, city and town centers. Promoting city and town centers is one of the key anchors that was also, I think, talked about at our last meeting, last quarter. And it was in our 2023-2026 comprehensive economic development strategy that was presented at that time. With that in mind, our committee meeting focused lastly on the Layton City Economic Development Strategy Plan. The effort funded through the Transportation and Land Use Connection Program we just talked about is still underway and focuses on how the promotion of city and town centers is important to the growth and economic vitality of Layton City. I think we've seen that throughout the state, how important those town centers become. In addition to what we talked about at our last meeting was through the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, 2 funding opportunities from the state, the first being the Apex Accelerator and the second being the Utah Innovation Center. And I think that both of those granting programs, funding opportunities are available on the website, and Andrew or Marcia can point you in the right direction. That's all I had for today, unless there's questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for Commissioner Frower? No, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, item 6C, we have our executive director's report. Andrew.
Madam Chair, I think everybody's heard me talk enough today. So unless anybody has any comments or questions for me, I will just turn it back to you.
There
Uh-oh.
is, yeah.
So Andrew, when I looked through the check register, there's an $8 purchase to Amazon for Tylenol. And knowing what a headache I am to you, I just wondered if that's enough.
I thought we weren't going to tell Carlton that he causes our headaches. Thank you, Carlton.
Awesome. That's good. Okay, would you like to make quick mention of the AMPO conference?
Oh, thank you. As mentioned briefly already, we are hosting the National Association of Metropolitan Planning Organizations Conference in downtown Salt Lake, September 23rd through 27th. We sent information out to you about that. It's actually already all fully sold out, but if you want to attend a day or so, let us know and we'll see what we can do. Okay, we're proud to be hosting the conference. We think that we together do great work in Utah. We do great work in Utah together. And we also know that we can always learn from others to do a better job. And so we're thrilled to have our partners and peers from all over the country coming to join us to share with them what we do and also to learn from them.
Great, thank you. All right, item 7, we just have a couple other things, some calendar notes. Thursday, October 24th, 2024 is the next time we will meet as a council. Other events, we've got the Utah League of Cities and Towns annual conference that many of us participate in and that WFRC will be participating in September 4th through 6th. The UAC annual conference is September 11th through 12th. AMPO conference was just mentioned, September 23rd through 27th. And the fall workshops for the Wasatch Choice Vision will be October 16th through November 18th. So check your calendar because the appointments have been sent. They're on there. Yeah, and just encourage all of your teams to come and really participate in that and have a say in that. Unless anyone has anything else, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. All right, all in favor, please say aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. And we made up the time beautifully. That was well done, team. Good job. I think that's the fastest